All right, my name's Adam. I'm the Yard of the Month winner for June in Daybreak, and so I'll just give you a little tour of my garden. All right, so my background is actually in residential landscape design. I studied at Utah State a few years ago. It's not my profession today, but it's just kind of this hobby that I had. So I went to school so I could get a little bit better at making my yard look nice, and something that I could enjoy and that hopefully my neighbors would enjoy. And so, like, as it pertains to this particular design, largely what I tried to come up with was something that would create a sense of simplicity, and yet it's like a simple chaos is kind of how I look at it. Because if you notice, a lot of people will trim their shrubs to be balls, like just round balls that are all just very, very symmetrical and everything. That's not my style, and so I think every garden should reflect the style of the owner. And so for me, it's just a little bit of chaos, but yet it all kind of works together, I think, in a beautiful way. And so every plant is basically allowed to do what it wants. Spacing, of course, is paramount so that the plants have the space to grow and to kind of expand and reach. I look at each plant kind of like as a little person, a little entity that wants to do its own thing. And so here, I mean, basically, as I'm looking at this, we've got different things repeated. And that's kind of, I think, what makes this work is, you know, I've got like a smoke bush over here and other smoke bushes over there. These roses are here and other roses there. And so I tend to group things, as you can see, in a way that actually makes it so that it all kind of works together. It looks like it grows there naturally. Like if you look at things in nature we end up seeing things in a group, and then some seeds cast off down the trail, and then some more seeds grow and some more things go down that way. And so I kind of envision in my mind, if this was created as an act of nature, what might that look like? And so just kind of repeating things. You see different colors, different forms, different textures. And then one of the things that's most significant, which you can see right here, is a layering effect. And most of the time you'll see in yards about a 3-foot border around a house, which just really isn't enough to be able to create layering. And so I always say you need at least 6 feet, 8 feet preferably. And in my case, I've got 16 or 20 feet because I love gardening and I love to create as much as I can. And the other thing I think that's significant here is 4-season interest. And what 4-season interest does, if you have enough real estate where you can actually plant enough plants, then you end up the ability for something to be blooming at all times. And so we've got like these viburnum in the back, which is that kind of lighter green, where those flowers are fading, as are the roses at this point. But then we've got the lavender that's coming into bloom, as well as some of this perennial geranium. And so as different things come and go, you have different seasons, and you end up basically seeing that there's always something to look at. Like looking at this right here, for example, we have these cone flowers that are about to come into bloom as other things fade, and then the roses will come back next about 2 or 3 weeks. They'll give us another blooming, and kind of fun. All right, so just a few like maintenance tips, things that make gardening easy, because I know a lot of people are really concerned about the amount of work. They look at something like this and they're like, I like it, but I want something that's low maintenance. And this is low maintenance, and nobody actually understands that. One of the things that's really important is, one of my professors in college said, if you have weeds, you don't have enough plants, right? Because if you can shade the grass or shade the ground, then you keep the light from hitting the seeds, and then you end up without that many weeds. And so the other thing to keep in mind is, so the number of plants makes a big difference, but then also the compost or the bark mulch that you use. I tend to use something that is just the really fine grade compost, which is, I mean, you can kind of see here that it's just really fine. And it's the type of compost that you might amend soil with or use in like a garden box or something like that for vegetables. But I like it as a top dressing. I put at least 3 inches down, and basically no weeds grow, or when they do, it's really easy to pull them out. The other thing is that I walk my garden every day just because I love it so much. And as I look at things like this, I mean, weeds are clearly growing here, but as I pull them out, the entire root just pops right out. And I can see these weeds coming up, and it takes me, I would say, less than 5 to 10 minutes to weed this garden every week. And that's something that makes it more enjoyable. If you're always out here digging, trying to get the weeds out, you're not going to last very long, I think. And so that's just kind of how it works, is make it easy on yourself by getting a good layer of mulch, walking around just picking the weeds out while they're really young, and then you can have more garden space, which means you're going to be using less water. And in a drought year like this, it makes a big difference to be able to use less water. And garden space like this, of course, uses significantly less water than turf space. And so another thing you might notice about my yard is that I have as little grass as possible, because number one, because it requires a lot of inputs, not only water but fertilizer, mowing every week, but also it's really hard to keep it looking that green, lush green in the middle of a heat wave and drought like this.